He did as project manager on the expansion areas, and that needed to be paid for by capital, so we reimbursed the reserve. This is the second time we've done it.
And that also did not put us over the approved amount by the board. The next one was to approve change order number 2 for painting extras for the remodeling, which was for capital. Again, extra painting that was not included in the original bid spec. And E was to approve additional items needed to complete renovation project by Smart Interiors from the capital fund in the amount of $3,036.81. This was for additional items that was requested by the general manager for a mirror credenza, the new area that we expanded off of the kitchen dining area. Also an exterior clock that we could wire in, which is a requirement by the health department and the state for the pool, that there has to be a clock visible from the spa, since there's a 15-minute time limit. Also a trash bin that was required for the pool area, and a third fan that was required to be put into the new bar, since the one that was spec'd by Smart Interiors would not work, the double-bladed fan. The ceiling was too low for that installation. The fan that was spec'd out for the bar, the double-bladed fan, the next phase we're going to request to put those type of fans in the dining room. So we still have the fan that's in storage.
Before we get into more discussion on this, I really want to take the opportunity to thank both the Reserve and Finance Committees for all the extra work that you've been doing here over the past few months, and sometimes the last minute meetings and adjustments that had to be made. I know there's a lot of work that's gone into this, so I just want to publicly thank both committees for all the extra work you've done and efforts you put into facilitating the quick approval of these things. So, okay, board comment, questions?
Motion first.
Okay, motion first, I'm sorry. Motion to approve these capital items.
So moved.
Discussion?
Same comment as before.
I'd like to discuss the furniture. We were called the Interior Design Committee, I guess that's our name, but we never saw any of the corrections or additions that have been made, and I think some of the furnishings really seem to be overpriced.
Further board comments? Questions? Discussion? Any resident comment?
Well, I have a related question. Was some of this work already performed?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Was some of this work already performed
Yes.
before board approval?
Yes.
Any further comment? Any resident comment? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-2. Thank you to the staff, thank you to Gary, thank you to everyone for all your hard work too. Okay, item number 5, approve creating an ad hoc information technology committee. Val?
At our last board meeting, there was a purchase request for new computers for the library, and at that time, the general manager said that there was no one on staff that was able to make any kind of decisions about information technology because there was no expertise. And I'd like to create an ad hoc information technology committee to help staff make these decisions.
Make a quick comment on that. We have an approved vendor, Scott Neal, who's built every computer in this facility for the past 5 years. We take his advice when we build a new system and a new, whether it's a server or new computers, and he services everything. He's qualified in Jonas, which is hard to find a computer specialist that knows our operating software and food and beverage. And I don't want to say that there's nobody on staff. We have some knowledge. None of us are IT specialists, but we have never gone wrong in the past, especially Scott Neal, his recommendations over with his equipment.
But he's also a vendor, and it's kind of a conflict of interest sometimes when a vendor gives you opinions that they have without having another second opinion. You don't go to a doctor for surgery and just take one doctor's advice, or you shouldn't.
You gonna make a motion?
I move that we form an information technology ad hoc committee.
Is there a second? Discussion?
Val, I assume you've researched this and that you have an idea of people who would be qualified to give assistance to Bill or GM to, for any programs. At this point, the new computers, where would we need to go at this point?
I think we have someone on the board who is pretty well versed in computers, and I would trust her to be able to help form a committee.
My sense is, once again, we've got to understand what this governance model deals with. Clearly, to me, this is an operational issue. If Bill feels he needs help, it's up to him to go and get the help. I don't think the board should be proposing this committee on an operational issue.
Additional questions, comments? Do we have any resident comments?
There was something that you said. There's hardly anybody. Oh, there's no mic. Well, then let me talk, because you can hear me.
No.
I thought that you said something about the computers that Scott Neal said if he didn't build them, he wouldn't service them.
Any further resident comment? Any further board questions or comments? Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
Bill, are you opposed to having a committee?
That's not fair, really, because I'm not opposed to Val's idea. But do I think we need another task group? No. I feel that Scott Neal, again, he's our approved vendor. If we have another company build these computers, go to Best Buy and buy them, he is not going to stand behind it. So every time we have an issue, they do not know our software, they do not know our network, they do not know our server. So these computers, all we're talking about here is the library computers. So these computers are linked through our server. So if if anything happens at Best Buy, he has to come in here, and they don't know anything about our server or any of the rest of the computers. This is not broken. We have never, ever had a problem with Scott Neal and his computers. He always comes out here. If there's a warranty issue, he fixes it. It's just like Larry alluded to, just like our concrete provider. We know him to be of high quality. We know him to do the best work in Pasco County. We know him to be one of the best vendors as far as price. So we have some vendors that are just approved vendors. Val said the thing about the doctor. If the library was dying, we get another, get another opinion. But it's like changing a light on the. We have an approved vendor for the pool. Do we go out and 3-bid or get a task group every time we want to change something on the pool? No, we go to our approved pool vendor because he takes care of the pool. We don't bring in an outside company to put a new piece of equipment in the pool and then expect our current vendor who we didn't buy it from to take care of it because they won't.
$12,000 is a lot of money. I mean, and when we're spending that kind of money, I think we should be able to evaluate what we're buying. And you're taking someone's word for it. I know you trust them, and that's fine. But there's also the case if something happens to Scott Neal, then you're going to need someone to step in. Now, the IT committee can make recommendations, or they can evaluate what Scott Neal's telling you. There are a lot of different aspects, not just the fact that the library computers. There are other aspects of computer systems that may be recommended by Scott Neal that may not be necessary. I mean, we were getting ready to spend $10,000 on redoing the website, and we didn't have to spend it.
I got one resident comment. It's going to be 5 years before we ever buy library computers again, so.
And the network.
And the network, so
For the network.
if you guys want to form a committee, then set it for 5 years, it's up to you.
So what is it hurting? What is it costing us to have a committee? If we don't need it, then we don't need it.
Yeah, for your senior faculty.
Bill, may I ask a question of you? If you realize that Linda has the expertise of the computer information, and if you were to come up with a issue that would require some confirmation of what the vendor would have suggested to be done, would you commit to just running it past Linda and getting kind of her feedback on it?
Definitely, that's, wouldn't be heard of.
That's what it's all about. I do that with every board member sitting at these tables in certain issues. I mean, Kevin and I do that on a weekly basis. I do it with Neil. I do it with Bill Stowe's with marketing. I do it with Bob when it comes to packaging and to writing RFPs. I use every single board member's resource. You know, I use Val's. Val's sitting on a committee. I personally asked Val to sit on a committee with me on RFP based on her background. You know, as I did Kevin and Bob. So yeah, I do that on a daily basis. Candace.
Yeah, I called Scott, and he did call me back. He said that we would set up an appointment 2 weeks ago, and he never did get back to me. We do have an issue with the HP News. It is not working properly, and there are some things I would like to discuss with him, but he has not gotten back to me.
I'll set that meeting up.
Okay,
I'll set it up next week.
okay.
And we will talk, and I will take your counsel on
Yeah, I just like to know what's going on with the computers.
it. No problem.
And when Linda's not here,
I'll call her on the phone.
Do we have any further comment? Are we ready for a vote? Are we ready?
No, I'd rather.
We have some meeting going on then.
Well, we're trying to get this clarification.
Okay, that's fine. Is there any?
I was just trying to get those level of interest in using
Okay, that's fine.
the officials. And I would like to see if the officials are not going to be on the board forever. We don't know if there's going to be someone to fill her shoes when she's off.
Just to be clear, to make the board meeting feel better, I use Peggy Pickering too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taken lessons from her on my iPad. No, she doesn't do it. I use it for advice, like I do a lot of other residents in here, like, and well, just like, anyway, I use her for advice, and she gives me advice.
Okay. We have a motion. Are we ready to vote? All in favor, signify by raising the right hand. What?
So we're having an IT.
All opposed? Okay. The motion carries 4-3. Next.
Approve amending memorial policy to read as follows. Effective immediately upon approval by the Board of Directors, common areas of the Heritage Pines Community Association will have no further memorials erected nor common areas named to commemorate individual, groups of individuals, events, or events except for the following two programs. The Gazebo Park Circle of Friends Brick Memorial Program and the Heritage Pines Community Association Tree Memorial Program. Bob?
I developed a presentation here. At the September 16th board meeting, task was to develop and recommend a broader-based policy concerning memorials and heritage pines. The reason was there was an existing policy, but the scope of it was felt to be deficient. That policy states residents may purchase memorial bricks to be placed in gazebo park, or they may have a memorial tree planted on the grounds with a map being provided to mark memorial trees, since no other marker for the trees will be allowed. There was also a second portion of that policy that said memorials already in place would be grandfathered.